Such a peaceful opening, with the Buddha and the guitar and that beautiful little tune that my friend wrote specifically for me for this podcast as an intro, which was very nice of him. And it leads into a pretty emotional, you know, kind of a poo show. And here's the thing I was looking for. I was trying so hard to get this changed from a PowerPoint slide into a video, and I just can't do it. I used to know how to do that, but I think I forgot. Anyway, this is the thing that I was looking at. This is an AI research on the effects of trauma on the effects of sudden shock on cognition. And this was the quotation I was thinking of. Under shock, listen carefully, individuals may make impulsive or poor decisions due to the heightened emotional state. The heightened emotional state, prioritizing immediate safety over careful consideration. This is textbook what happened to me. It's exactly what happened. And the thing that bothers me is that these guys who were so religious and so perfect, because we don't celebrate Christmas, that's pagan. Yeah, but it's okay to oppress and cheat a widow who's in a heightened emotional state making poor decisions. You don't have a Christmas tree, but you're going to... there's no words for the hypocrisy. Anyway, I'm going to sign off because I want to segue into the main part of this. And here is the very, very famous, unneeded and unnecessary electrical panel, breaker switch panel. This was completely unnecessary. This panel was replaced in 2012 before this one. That was the first iteration, and there was nothing wrong with the panel. They didn't change any of these things. They just copied over what was already written down. But they put a whole new panel in. Why? That's what I'd like to know. Why? Why did they feel... He stood right here where I'm standing in the basement next to this electrical panel, and he said to me, this was Mr. Jeremy. He said to me, how do I flip this around? I can't flip around the feed. Wait a minute. Doggone it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to flip it's not letting me do it. Okay, well, anyway, I wanted to flip around so you can see my face, but you can see my face tomorrow when I finish this video. The problem here was I didn't need this. I did not need any of this new panel. 2012, how often do you replace these things? Every 30 years, every 50 years? I don't know. This was 2012. A new panel was put in. That's not that long ago. I had this one installed, I guess it would have been 23. Must have been 20. It was either 22 or 23. Right after Terry died in 22. And my brain was not working right because they stood here, two of them, Sam and Jeremy. And I hope you're watching this video. You know who you are. You know who you are. Okay, they stood here and they said, oh, your house could burn down. If you don't change this panel, the whole house could burn down. So what am I doing? I'm standing here really cowering in my head. I'm cowering and thinking, my husband's not here. There's no man in the house. What if I can't take care of this house all by myself? What if I'm not capable? And my brain, again, wasn't working right. Widow brain, okay? And that was the problem. That was the problem. Now, here's what they did. They wanted to please their company. They wanted to please their boss. They weren't trying to please the customer or do the right thing. All they were trying to do was rack up brownie points with their boss, who's very big on upselling. This company is famous for upselling. If you go on Yelp, oh my God, they crucify them on Yelp, and they deserve it. They deserve even more. They deserve to be run out of business. They deserve to be run out of business because they upsell, they prey on innocent people and women who live alone, older women who are widows who live alone. And what happened was This guy, Jeremy, who I never saw again, by the way, never saw him again. What he said, like, you know how sometimes people talk half to themselves, they make comments almost to themselves. It's like he was mumbling. He said, well, you know, and he said, well, they said, well, we'll put you on a loan. You don't have to, you can pay it all at once, but oh, this is a wonderful thing. You can pay it off early if you want to. Oh, what a wonderful people you are. That's just hunky dory. I can pay it off early. Yippee, $8,000 for this thing. Okay? And I'm still paying it off. It's been 3 years. I'm going to be paying this off for years to come, unless I go back to work. So what they bought for me was me not wanting to, but having to go back to work. There's no way I can stay home now. I have to go out to work to pay off that loan. $8,000. And the other ones, the termite people, I won't say the name of the company, but it sounds like termites. That was the $10,000 for the attic insulation. I didn't need that either. That was overselling also. But Jeremy stood here and he commented to himself, after I signed on that little iPad thing, I signed my life away for $8,000. He said, well, I'm going to do this or that if I have any conscience left. That's what he said. That's the comment he made to himself, like an aside. And I did hear it, and I did take note of it, but I was so scared to death that my house was going to burn down. I mean, this house was built by my parents. My father built this house in 1952. It was passed on to me by my parents. I'm an only child, and the house came to me. And I decided this would be my retirement home because it's smaller, it's appropriate, it's what I need. I like the neighbors. I grew up with the neighbors, you know, and they're wonderful people. They're like family. So I decided I was going to retire here. You know, it's not too big. It's one level. This is the basement, but basically it's one level. And it's an appropriate house for my needs. So what happens? He says this thing to, if I have any conscience left, after I sign this contract. And why I didn't heed that and say, cancel this thing, erase that signature, I'm backing out of this. I didn't. Normal brain Sherry would have done that. Widow brain Sherry was scared to death that the house was going to burn down because they actually said that, oh, the house could burn down with a panel like this. Now, here's the other extremely stupid thing. My neighbor next door, who's like a brother to me, right? He's like a brother. He happens to be an electrical inspector. He inspects the work of electricians. He's the inspector. He goes around to houses and inspects things just like this. And why I didn't ask Edwin, I can't tell you. This is the most stupidest thing I ever have done in my entire life. Well, I've done some stupid things, but this was right up there. This wins the gold medal of stupid things. It didn't occur to me. It did not occur to me to ask Edwin to do like a, let me get a second opinion before I sign on for $8,000 on this damn thing that I didn't even need. I did not need this, Jeremy, and you knew it, which is why you said, if I have any conscience left. You said that to yourself, but I heard you because you said it out loud. And we got done. This was after we got done with this long discussion about the Jehovah's Witnesses and Muslims and Christians and how people who are homeschooled, they kind of do better in life sometimes. And, and how wonderful it is that you have all these beliefs and you don't celebrate Christmas and because it's your belief. Well, you have the right, to do that. And it's fine, And I said, well, some people don't celebrate Christmas either. So we're talking about all this religious bunkum, right? Bunk. The Jehovah's Witnesses go around and knock on your doors and wake you up on Saturdays, right? And they knock on your doors, and once you let them in, they never go away. They never stop coming. Well, let me tell you something. You don't celebrate Christmas. Well, la-di-da-di-da for you. I guess God's real pleased with you. You know what God's not pleased with? This. God is not pleased with this. Selling somebody $8,000 loan I did not need, and you knew I didn't need it. You knew it, and you did it anyway because you wanted to be, I'm going to be so, favored in my company, and my boss is going to love me. I'm going to have a feather in my cap. And that was the whole point of the whole thing. I didn't need this, Jeremy. And you knew I didn't need it. And you sold it to me anyway because you said to me, and Sam too, said, the house could burn down. This could burn down your... And that goes along with what I read about heightened sense of caution. I have the document upstairs. Something about a heightened sense of awareness, a heightened sense of threat. And the prefrontal cortex shuts down, and the amygdala takes over, the monkey brain, the instinct brain. I have to protect myself immediately because my house could burn down unless I spend $8,000 on a panel I did not need. Honestly, I hope you're happy when you go to church in your little Jehovah's Witness church on Sundays or whenever you go. I hope you remember this panel, Jeremy and Sam. I hope you remember this panel and what you sold to upsold to a widow who did not need it. And you knew I didn't need it. You knew it.